Good morning, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It's Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and that translates into a dose of no BS job search advice. This is a time where I like to spend about 15 minutes talking with you about some element of job hunting, because to me, job hunting doesn't have to be hard, difficult, painful, or even take so long. It's just the skills needed to find a job are very different than the skills needed to do a job. And that's where this show, my other one, which is called Job Search Radio, which is on webtalkradio.net, they're both in iTunes and a variety of other podcast directories. It's where my videos, my e-zines, all the content that I provide at thebiggamehunter.us is designed to help you. Because if you just keep going out there and doing the same things that you're doing, without making this adjustment in your thought process, without learning these skills, your job search is going to take way too long, and you're going to miss opportunities that you could actually do, but unfortunately you won't get because you don't know how to deliver what the firm is looking for, or maybe even get in the door with that firm. So I'm going to take about 15 minutes talking with you about your job search, with the idea toward helping you do better. Now, this show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is a provider of audiobooks on the web. And if you'd like to get a free audiobook, sign up for a trial at audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter. And you'll be able to download a copy of an audiobook for free with a trial. Also, my other sponsor is consultingassignments.com. Consultingassignments.com is a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments. I know, what a big surprise. Full-time consulting positions, temp to perm, and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world, completely free. Posting a job or a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is also free, as is the ability to contact one another. The only thing the site charges for is if you're going to feature a job or a resume, it's a whopping $10 for 30 days. And if you're going to feature more than one position, they have opportunities for you to do that where the cost goes down to peanuts. Like $10 is so expensive, right? It's going to go down to $2 for 45 days. So again, that site is consultingassignments.com. Now, I know the title to this show is a little quirky for me, because normally I work with hard skills when I talk to people on these shows. And today I'm going to do something that's just as important, but I want you to understand how critical this is going to be for you. And I was reminded of this while watching a movie this week. And then there were some other things that kind of chimed in to fit along with this thinking process. And the movie I was watching was called 20 Feet from Stardom, which, if you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful movie about backup singers with different bands. And it starts off with a feature about Darlene Love, who eventually got admitted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then wound up going to a number of other performers who also were very successful. And then understanding and learning the difference between singing backup and being the lead. Now, many of these women, and they were generally women with one exception of a male backup, many of these performers really wanted to be lead singers, but often weren't willing to pay the price necessary to sing lead. Now, it's a different function to be the lead versus the backup. And if you don't believe me, let's put this in a business context. There's a very different position to being the owner of a firm versus a staff member in the firm who's critical of the owner. Now, none of these backup singers were critical of the leads. But when you think about it, isn't that what often goes on in offices? Now, the reason I raise this as a subject is the notion of really understanding yourself and what you're capable of doing. You can be a lead performer. and interview for lead jobs. But if you're not ready for that yet, if you don't have the skills and experiences, and more importantly, the temperament to be the lead, firms are going to smell that out, and they're going to recognize that quality in you and find you lacking. Now, it doesn't mean you can't develop these skills. Several of these women did. I know I have as well. I think of myself in my international men's organization, where I eventually ascended from being a member of staff to being what they call the co-leader, which was like an assistant to the leader of the weekends, until ultimately leading these men's retreats around the country. These were experiential workshops to help men look at issues around integrity, accountability, and a whole host of other positive attributes that these men felt lacking in their lives. So where I'm coming from here is you need to really understand yourself and where you are at this stage in your life, and really interview for roles that fit your temperament and fit your experiences and abilities, because otherwise, as much as you may want to step up, you're going to go through a crash and burn. Now, even within that, whether it's a lead or a backup, I'll give you another couple of possible ways of critiquing yourself, and thus critiquing the kind of organization you want to be in. Years ago, I saw Tony Robbins do a speaking engagement in New York. And Robbins talked about the 5 attributes that firms use for advertising when they evaluate a potential audience and figure out who to target. Now, he said, basically, if you look at every TV commercial that's offered, you'll recognize one of these 5 attributes. The first one is a belonger, someone who wants to be a part of something. And these are often represented in commercials as the bar commercial. People sitting around a bar having a drink and laughing and joking. This is advertised to try and help you feel as a part of something. Then there are the ones that they talk about, the achievers, the high performers, the ones that are successful and they know it. They don't need to be sold to except in a very understated way. So you'll see very low-key commercials really geared to that. Years ago, the product of choice for that market area was Polo, Ralph Lauren. A very simple logo on a shirt. Didn't scream anything. It was understated, and people knew that the wearer was successful, or believed that the wearer was successful, and they felt that way about themselves too. The next one was the societally conscious individual. Now, that individual, it's the largest, simple, and growing market area, and that's the one that wants to be successful, is successful, just doesn't want to be sold to. So years ago, the product of choice was the Infinity car. And if you think about it, the internet, when you don't want to have a salesperson call you and you're doing competitive shopping, or comparison shopping, I should say, online, the internet is such a product because you're getting information without being sold to. Next was the emulator, the one who wanted to be an achiever, but often just was too young and didn't make enough money. So they were generally sold to by the commercials with things that were hot. The commercials with the girl getting out of the car, and you're seeing a lot of thigh as she does that. So that's the classic commercial for that market. And basically what they're doing is selling to that audience via sex. And finally, there's one other market that isn't sold to all that much because it's generally a market that doesn't have a lot of money. And that's a market where people are kind of needs driven. So the classic product for them used to be a product called Colt 45 malt liquor. Generally people who were sitting around, having drinks in that way, being happy with one another, be advertised on billboards rather than TV. Their market really didn't have a lot of money. So when you think of yourself, the point I'm getting to is you need to understand where you fit. Are you someone who's a high achiever already? You're not really pushing anymore. You're not driving yourself to be successful anymore. You believe in yourself. You just know it. And thus, you want to demonstrate that quality to an interviewer effectively and powerfully. Are you someone who's an achiever and needs to get sold to? It's a very different way of displaying yourself. Are you someone who sings backup like the emulator does, for example, who wants to be just like the singer out front, but isn't willing to pay the price or isn't ready yet to pay the price to be out front yet? You know, there was a wonderful story told in the movie. And if you haven't seen it, you really should. It's a documentary that won an Oscar in 2013. And the idea behind it, well, the story was about a woman who was going to be the lead backup to Michael Jackson in his final tour. And Jackson spent a lot of time with her. There's no suggestion of hanky-panky in that, just to be clear. But she was very talented and a terrific performer. And she and Michael are shown briefly working with one another in anticipation of this final tour, only to have him die, of course. And then she's got to make choices. And yes, she's trying to develop a career as a lead singer, and they show her performing in that way. But there are times to pay the bills, she's got to go back to backup gigs. So you need to really understand yourself and what you're able to do. If you're out of work and you really want to be that lead singer, well, there's a price that you pay for that. You may not have the financial wherewithal to do it. You may want to strive for some of those jobs while at the same time interviewing for the backup singer job, to use that metaphor. There are times where you're on the top of the heap, but if you've been out of work too long, you don't really feel that way about yourself anymore. You feel questioning and have some doubts about yourself and your ability. So know yourself, know what you're able to do before you step out there. Now, I hope you found this show helpful. If you did, I want to encourage you to come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. Go over to the site and go exploring. There's lots of great content there to help you. I've got all my YouTube videos are there. There are podcasts of No BS Job Search Advice Radio, No BS Hiring Advice Radio, and Job Search Radio is also available there. You can find all of those on the web as well. In addition, you can receive a complimentary subscription to my e-zine, or e-zines I should say, No BS Job Search Advice e-zine and No BS Hiring Advice e-zine. I publish each on a regular schedule, twice monthly for the hiring one, every week for the job search one. You know, it's all there to help you, and it's a completely free subscription. Plus, you can read previous articles I've done for the e-zines there. There's information about my books and guides to job hunting. You can search positions I'm recruiting for. Watch my videos there. Lots of good content to help you find work or hire people more quickly. So come over to my website and go exploring. A few final things, if I may. First of all, if your firm's trying to hire someone, send me an email at the address below. Let me know who to contact and whether I can mention your name. I'd love to help your firm staff positions. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. The address is linkedin.com/IN/TheBigGameHunter. I accept connection requests from people worldwide, except if you look like a spammer, except if you're a third-party recruiter. Not interested in networking that way. Finally, if you have a question about job hunting, I'm a live person job search and career coach, and I encourage you to reach out to me rather than to your friends, colleagues, former managers, family, all those other people who know as little as you do, who you normally would ask for advice. So again, reach out to me through liveperson.com, where I'm a job search and career coaching expert. I'll take as little time with you as you like and as long as you like. However it works for you, works for me too. So this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I hope you found this show helpful. I'll be back next week with more No BS job search advice. Take care. Did you not record? Didn't record. That chimed in to fit along with this thing. Full-time consulting positions, temp to perm and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world. The expert. I'll take as little time with you as you like and as long as you like. However works for you, works for me too. So, this is Jeff Altman, the Big Dream Hunter. I hope you found this show helpful. I'll be back next week with more no BS job search advice. Take care. Hi, Jim. It's Jeff Altman. Yes, I do have time today. Would love to chat with you and would appreciate a call at 646-374-8656. Take care.